Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It is me, Rich, the man of the controversial tweets. But we'll talk about that in a little while. And I'm joined by Kev, another controversial tweeter as well, every now and again. But yeah, we're here to review the game from Saturday, Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4. Amazing football match, for the neutral. Had everything in the game. So we'll dive into that, all of the talking points, and obviously we'll talk about that tweet. So Kev, great to have you on board, mate. How are you How are you this evening? Sorry, how are you doing?
It's morning somewhere, mate. You're not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, mate. I'm good. I'm in London for a couple of days on a work trip. So just for those that are watching, I've only got myself a mojito. And
Look at that.
I never drink on a what day is it? Monday night. But I just thought we've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to be a bit annoyed at some point during this podcast. So a little bit of rum. Here we go. So I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. A bit of a different background because I'm in a hotel room, but plenty to get into about Saturday's game, both in terms of obviously the performance, but also quite a few decisions that were made. So yeah, let's do it.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't think we'll break it down goal by goal or moment by moment. I think there's just way too much. So if you've got your talking points, guys, get your comments in. We're already getting comments coming in now. So please get your comments in. Anything you want to cover, anything you want to talk about, please get them in. And as always, please do leave a like on this video. We surpassed 1,000 subscribers on Friday, which was fantastic. So help us get further and further on. That'd be brilliant. And we will open up functions for super chats and all that sort of stuff, and help us do better shows and give you more content and stuff. So please do leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. So we've got Belgian villain in the house. Good evening, David Bowden. Looking forward to another hour of great podcasting. Don't know if you heard the right one, but we'll try our best, David. We'll try our best, mate.
Appreciate that.
What's up, lads? Yes, Rich. Good to see you. Evening, fellas. From Alfie's Reef. Penno's in the house. Good evening, all. Richard said Emery was fuming. He was, and we'll get on to Emery's comments. I'm sure, Kev, you've got a lot to say about that as well. Jam Jack, sweet and sour. Can we just get some sweet? Deontay, hello all. Hello, mate. How you doing? Marcus said he couldn't watch the back of the games. Really felt we would win, but today, fuming seeing their third was offside. Mate, we're going to get into that. We really are. Congrats on the 1K from Rich. Thank you very much, mate. Michael Parsons, hi, mate. How you doing? Mark, hi, mate. Good to have you on board. T1, hey, my people, congrats on your 1K. Thank you. And you've been a massive part of helping us get there as well, T1. So thank you so much. Rachel's in the house. Hello. Jam Jack, are we going in the right direction? I feel we have a chance with Emery. We'll talk about that later. Sharik, he's a man after my own heart here. He's a man after my own heart. We'll talk that. We'll talk that. Belgian, Douglas Luiz just got mentioned on Coronation Street. Okay. Hi all from Duncan. Frustrating result again. So, yes, Kev. Where do you want to start with this? Yeah, where do you want to start with Saturday's game?
Well, let's start with the performance. Generally, the performance. That's a good place to start. We don't need to go through the goals forensically. I think there's probably been enough places that have done that. But I thought the performance was generally pretty good up until the point where we had our usual, seemingly usual lately, second half capitulation. Whether this comes into the sense that sometimes we struggle to play for a whole game. But I think the fast starts have been a real kind of trademark of Emery, Emery's Villa, absolutely. And is there something to be said that when you're playing against these better teams, and look, we have to ask for a little bit of sensibility. It's okay to call out some facts, which obviously we'll go into your tweet in a bit more detail. And by the way, I share that tweet because we obviously share the account, so that whatever you say, I say, vice versa. Up until the day I have to distance myself from your tweets and say, listen, Rich was running that day. If it's a black fist, it's you. If it's a white fist, it's you.
Yeah. We just have to have a code. Yeah, that's the code.
But I thought the performance was generally decent. However, decent in the sense that you've gone toe-to-toe for an Arsenal team for a fair bit of the game, but then there's aspects of that performance that are classic Villa. But are we expecting to, in a few games under Emery, do what we didn't do under Gerard. It's difficult to be patient, and it's difficult to be realistic and fair and all those kind of things. When you see good things, that's the problem. And you get that little spell of wins and you think, hang on a minute, we're going somewhere here. We're knocking on that top 10 door. And then bang, 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 3 defeats in a row. And I think it's more than that it's 3 defeats. It's the manner of some of the things that happen in those defeats that I think have annoyed a few people. But I mean, I'm overall still really positive, and I'm overall thinking that Emery I trust.
Yeah.
And but there's things that definitely need to be discussed. So let's do it.
Yeah. So I echo your thoughts. I think if you to say before the game, like you driving down to the game, we both were at the game, you driving down and you're saying we're going up against Arsenal, they're in a bit of a dodgy spell, but they're joint top of the league. We're in 11th position. We've got off the back of 2 defeats. You know, we'll compete against them if we can squeak some result out of it. Fair dues, but let's give them a game. And ultimately, we did do that. But then you get to the actual game, and we've had this so often. We had this the season where we stayed up, where we went toe to toe with Liverpool at the time, and they scored in the last second of the game and to win the game. And we've had this countless other opportunities. I mean, my poor lad Aiden has been to 5 or 6 Villa games, and 5 of them, I think he's been to 7 Villa games, and 5 of them have been 3-2 where we've lost in the last minute, or 4-2, like where we've got beat. So it's just like that, and this is over the course of 3 different managers. So this is a culture thing with Villa. This is something that happens with Villa when we go into these positions and we can't seem to see out these results against the big teams. But like you said, there's elements of the performance that were excellent, and the 2 goals that we scored, let's just talk about them. You know, Watkins has another goal, 4 in 4, looks full of confidence, peeling off his marker, causing havoc for the central defenders, and wonderful finish with his left foot. You know, and he's looking like that Watkins that we've wanted for a long time, albeit we know that he goes on these goal scoring runs, and we want to, I think we want to see that continuing and be consistent, and maybe get 2s in games, get not just 1 goal, get 2, and get 3, but encouraging signs from him. And then obviously, Coutinho getting a goal, wonderful move, probably the best bit of football in the whole game. And that Moreno cross that we talked about in other pods before, where he cuts it across the box, and it worked. And so those are the real positives. And if we can do that against one of the best teams in the league, you would think you could do that against other teams moving forwards.
Yeah, we didn't have loads of chances. The thing that is both pleasing but also simultaneously annoying is that Watkins took really the only chance I remember him having. Now in the past, he might not have taken that chance, and then we're certainly saying, if you only get 1 chance, you need someone to take it. And it looked like he'd taken the ball too wide. Firstly, by the way, great work from Matty Cash. He nipped in, didn't he, ahead of someone, and then took a positive touch forward and a great ball over the top. Looked like he'd gone too wide, and then an unerring finish with his left foot, arrowed in the corner. It's a good sign, actually, because my lad loves watching the warm-up. So we're always out there, 20 past.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Watching them do the stretching first of all, the usual, and then it's just wait for the good stuff. They're having shots, and you can always tell sometimes when Watkins misses every shot before the game. And he was smashing him in before the game, so I thought, right, okay, this might be good. But great finish. And the second goal, I mean, wow, it was amazing football. From both the ball around the back of the defenders, obviously by Kamara, the cross from Moreno, the step over from Buendia. I mean, Buendia tries that 5 other times, though, and we're all going, God's sake, Buendia, because he obviously gets blocked out, but it worked this time. Great finish from Coutinho. I think he gave the keeper the eyes, and, fantastic. We didn't create many of the chances, and I think that's the thing which, again, I feel like I'm a little bit almost bipolar on this point, because we're playing the team that have, are top of the league, aren't they? And other than for about a few days, they've been top of the league for about 100 days. So they're the best team in the land at the moment. And the best team in the land are probably going to have more possession and more chances than a team that are mid-table. That's just a reality. Like a better boxer is going to have more of a fight against the lesser boxer. We want to have more of the ball, and Emery wants us to control the game more. And I think there's the things that have annoyed him in terms of giving the ball away for one of the goals and things like that. And we can be better with that, but I think we'll be better with better personnel. And it's just disappointing when you know that there obviously are situations where, you know, other teams probably would take the opportunity to beat a Leicester when they're 2-1 up, and to beat an Arsenal when they're 2-1 up. And, you know, we've capitulated in both those games. But, you know,
or just get the point. You know, just
or
get the point.
Yeah, but it's a resurgent Leicester, you know, up until obviously they got beat by Man United.
Yeah.
They're bad Spurs as well, you know, so they're definitely
No, they're a good side. Like I love Maddison. I think he's a brilliant player, but yeah, you know, we'll get onto it later. We'll get onto it later about the similarities and the comparisons. But comments are flooding in, so I have to go. I really do need to go through some comments. So let's have a look. Well, we'll talk mistakes in a minute. So Richard's got a good mistake. Belgium Villa said, before we say anything, can I get a bit of credit because I did say Martinez would score an own goal. There you go, mate. Great. David said, help me make sense of this. I keep hearing that we have an elite level manager and that we have a good squad, but our results and some performances are deteriorating. Something's not adding up. Again, we'll get onto that. We will do. What about Watkins? He's on fire. Yes. Yeah, absolutely, mate. 4 in 4. Like I said, I would obviously long may it continue. And I think the real positive sides, as you said, Kev, you can tell when a striker's on form because they want the ball. They're smashing it in the net, you know, like even in training. So it's great to see. Our keeper's not been the same since the World Cup. He is not bigger than our club and must do what our manager wants. We'll come to that because there's loads of comments coming in. Martinez's head's got big after the World Cup. I don't live too far from Basingstoke and I'm still rescuing Bailey's first touch from my garden. Alfie's reach. We held them to a draw for 90. If the game had ended, we would have been more than happy there. Third shouldn't have stood and shafted us once again. Yeah, well, we'll definitely come from that. The third was pure unlucky. Without that, we get the draw. We let them have the ball. Nobody attempted to tackle. Yeah. Moley boys in the house. Hi guys. So okay, so a couple of points that are coming out from this. Rachel says Coutinho and Watkins stepped up. A couple of points here are Mings' mistakes. So let's talk mistakes because again, goals are being scored for the other team predominantly, but the first 2 goals particularly were mistakes from us again. Now, Mings has been one of our better players this season, and obviously signed a new contract. Nothing to do with the performance in the game, but what is happening there? Like, why can't you head the ball out? 2, is Martinez shouting enough to get him to duck out the way? And C, why are you heading it back into the path of a Villa player, an Arsenal player, or trying to head it into the path of a Villa player, but you know you're heading it into bodies?
Yeah, it's look how hard we've had to work for those 2 goals we scored. You know, a great, fantastic, intricate passing move, great skill, step overs, you know, threading passes through the eye of a needle to get that second goal. You know, real tenacity and effort from Cash to get ahead of someone, driving forward, great ball over the top, fantastic finish. We've gifted them 2 goals. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've become even more of a fan of Mings over this season than probably I have since the Championship promotion season. And obviously, we know he's got that in him sometimes, and is it a sense of being overly confident? But I don't think he can be that confident. He's going to generate the pace on the header with a ball that was. It wasn't like the ball was going at a decent pace or it was coming to him at the right kind of angle. He was always going to have to try and move it into a different direction, head it into a different direction. It was only ever going to go so far. I think he would have been very lucky to get it even out of the box. So the easy options are, 1, hope your keeper gives you a call. The World Cup winning keeper gives you a call. Bit of a dig there, right? Because he can see the ball coming in and surely he knows
exactly
what's going on. Or 2, head it out for a corner. Better be safe than sorry. And no one's going to be annoyed if you end up scoring from the corner if it's good play. But heading it straight to a player. Yeah, do you know what? I think a few people have made this point. It always does seem like Mings' mistakes are always really punished. Maybe.
Yeah.
And if you analyze mistakes made in the Premier League, maybe he's got, you know, the worst luck in terms of them being finished. And it was a fantastic finish from Saka. But you've presented probably one of the best 4 or 5 players in the Premier League. He's brilliant at Saka, isn't he? You've presented him with the chance there. And again, what a fantastic finish. But the reality is that he's got an easy decision to make, and that's
Yeah, well, he went from the sublime to the ridiculous because Michael Parsons said he cleared it off the line, like brilliant clearance off the line, and then the next second, he's literally heading it back into the penalty area. It's like it's what you would expect an attacking player to do.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, we've lost momentum, haven't we, straight away because we scored an early goal and we've given it. I think Tim makes a fair point. Tim Mings deserves the same frustrating criticisms I give Bailey. I think the one thing I'd say is I think Bailey's consistently inconsistent. I think Mings has moments, but then he can be great again for 7, 8, 9, 10 games.
Yeah, but it's always different, isn't it? When a defender or goalkeeper makes a mistake, it generally leads to a chance or a goal. Obviously, Konsa in the second half, like bad mistake, and then nearly causes a goal. So I do agree. Then the second goal, mate. I know you want to do a full show on this. And we will be doing questions on this because we're going to get a special talking tactics show with Gareth and a live one. So please do get your questions in that you want Gareth, our data analyst, to cover. So get them into Villa Park Pod. But the second goal, set piece again. We're the worst in the league for conceding off set pieces. Where do we stand with this? What is going on?
Are we one of the worst at scoring off set pieces as well?
We are, absolutely.
So I don't want to I didn't really want to release these too early, but because I'm sure other pods might do it. But we want to do a pod. I'm desperate to do a pod on basically what's the bloody point of Austin McPhee. So if you've got comments to make on Austin McPhee and any thoughts you've got, please fire them in. It's just absolutely terrible. And we conceded a goal against League 2 opposition that basically knocked us out of the FA Cup. It was the winning goal for them, wasn't it? Short corner. We've done exactly the same thing again against the team that are top of the Premier League. Well, we're second at the time and now top of the Premier League. What are you doing? Have you got eyes? Where are your eyes? Can you not see the player on the edge of the box?
I know, and you're leaving it 2v1. You're leaving it 2v1 on a short corner.
And don't tell me they knew the stat that he hadn't scored in the Premier League and they were that confident. But it's just terrible. And you've given him a chance, and that is, you've done all that hard work to get the lead back deep into the second half.
Yeah, exactly. It's 60 minutes. It's not like they've come and they've thrown everything at us. Like we kind of weathered a bit of the storm.
Yeah.
And then they get a corner. It's like, well, this is defending. This is what you should be doing.
Yeah, it's just rubbish. And look, it was a really clean strike. I normally don't like a keeper getting bit in near post. I'm actually not going to give Martinez too much criticism because when I've seen it back, he does arrow it right in the near post. How's he even being allowed to shoot? It's not even that he shoots. He lets the ball run all the way across his body. It reminded me of being like in the playground as a kid against some shit kids playing football who just didn't want to be there. And they're like, I've got all the time in the world. How's he? The ball ran literally, must have been 2 or 3 seconds. It run across him. What are they thinking? Hang on a minute. Maybe this guy with a great left foot might bang it in the net in a minute. I mean, ridiculous. 2 goals that they've scored. You are right, mate. Like, they had other chances. That Odegaard miss was an absolute. I thought that was our day then when that happened. But you've gifted 2 goals, and you go back to the Leicester game again. We gifted a lot of goals there, and actually with a bit more savvy play, a bit more nous, we potentially don't concede those first 2 goals. Maybe they score anyway. Maybe they work harder and get goals back, but we made it a bit easier for them than we should.
Yeah, I mean, you as a manager, you go in like get to 60 minutes, like we're 2-1 up, get to 60 minutes, and then we can kind of go from there. And we've kind of weathered the storm, so to speak, and we're in a better position. And then, but the last thing you expect is to concede a goal like that, and just again carbon copy of Stevenage. We conceded a set piece last week against Man City, and it's just so frustrating as a manager. Like, no wonder Emery was just like overly frustrated because there were so many elements of the game that were avoidable, and one of them is that set piece goal. And it's ridiculous. Like, for us to be conceding, Leicester last season or start of this season, we're conceding off set pieces constantly. We don't want to be that team. And now we're at the moment, we're at the risk of being that team that every time a team gets a corner against us, panic station set in with us.
Yeah.
And also they think that they're going to score.
And I know, like, obviously, we've just said they are top of the league, and therefore, that you expect them to do well. But I think there's a good point here from David. Arsenal were there to beat in the first half. They looked broken, but we rejuvenated them through our poor player mistakes. And That's the one thing I don't think we do enough as a team, Villa. I don't think we take the opportunity to beat teams when they're down. Have you seen West Ham's away record this season?
Yes, they've only beat us.
They've
Yeah,
won one game away, and they were bottom of the league at the time, and it was Aston Villa. An absolute classic, wasn't it? I was on holiday with the kids at the time in a dodgy pub somewhere in Greece. And I was like, come on, we'll win this. Kids a home game against West Ham. We're not there. Yeah, classic. Look at all the times we've done that. Leeds 10 men, we couldn't beat them. Forest had lost 6 games in a row, I think it was. We couldn't beat them. Arsenal, I'm not suggesting you think you're going to beat them, but you 1-0 and 2-1 up. In the first half, everyone else telling me their thoughts. I thought Arsenal were rattled. Saka was rattled. I know he scored that great goal, but he was getting annoyed. He was biting back. Probably could have had a bit more punishment he got for that bad tackle. And they were a little bit rattled. They were.
Yeah,
and you've got to take the opportunity there to
let's go into it, because you're raising a great point. We go 1-0 up, and we did this against Leicester, so it's got to be a bit of a trend. But also the comments of Emery were telling, in the fact that I don't know if these tactics are coming from Emery. So there's a disconnect somewhere. But against Arsenal and against Leicester, we go 1-0 up. We then try and sit back and kill the game and take the sting out of it with time wasting. We go 2-1 up. We're doing the same thing, but we're not good enough to do that. And also, why aren't we going for that when we got to 2-1? Why aren't we going for the juggler and getting it to 3-1? Like, why aren't we? We've just scored a brilliant goal with a brilliant move. Why don't we go after them again? This is what I loved about Newcastle earlier on in the season. They beat us 4-0. Because when they scored, it was just wave after wave after wave of attack, and they just used to they would just swamp you and beat you 3 or 4-0 before you'd even blinked.
I don't know if this is a hallmark.
What is going on with the time wasting?
I don't know if this is a hallmark of Emery teams and being a bit more kind of pragmatic and a bit more turgid and grinding out results. But I don't think it is based on some of his comments how annoyed it was. I think he wants us to be more progressive and have possession, but any kind of situation, whether you're talking about animals in the wild or competitive sport or any kind of competitive scenario, right? You've got to take your opportunities when someone's down. I mean, there's been plenty of situations, Leicester did it brilliantly in the Premier League years ago, but in every kind of scenario, you'll see it in darts, snooker, rugby, tennis, cricket. Someone's not quite at their game. You've got to take your advantage. It happens in boxing sometimes. You get strange results in fights when someone's not quite on the game. And Aston Villa do not do that. They do not take the opportunity to punish teams, like you just said, like Newcastle do. And I've seen plenty of other teams that are not Villa do it. Fulham did it brilliantly against us in Gerard's last game. Take the opportunity to just go and be at a team. And when you add to this horrible cocktail that we're creating with this point of the ridiculous time wasting.
Well, Adam's just said it here. It's fine, but we're not even clever.
I got to point Martinez the other day, and I think there's been some points people make. Oh my God, people have changed on Martinez quickly, haven't they? We loved him 1 minute. I honestly wanted him to get sent off at one point. I was getting so annoyed with it until I realised we'd made all 5 subs. We put Mings in goal, but or maybe you would have done a classic. Oh, I've got a head injury, concussion injury.
Yeah, honestly, was just
because what I think it does as well, it saps our own play. You've got an opportunity to release the ball quickly from the goalie, and the fans are getting frustrated when you see Bailey. Probably, might not come to as much, but he's making a run.
Yeah. And why would you do it? Why would you do it again if you're not getting found? 2 or 3 times a striker makes a run. Why are you going to do it again?
Exactly. And when it's slow, all you're doing is making it harder for you to break out now with your progressive, playing out from the back. They're really at the races. They're trying to get the ball back. So you've now made it difficult for yourself. Nothing annoys me more when you've got an opportunity to get it out quickly in whatever level of football I'm watching, and it's slowed down. It really, really pisses me off. So what you're doing, you're just asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble.
It was really frustrating, and I'm surprised he didn't get a yellow card earlier. And I do think Villa fans are getting a little bit. Well, not a little bit. They're definitely getting pissed off of it, because I do think that contributed to. Well, it obviously contributed to the extra added time, but it also contributed to us, I think, ultimately losing the game. What I thought was a pivotal moment. Obviously, we'll talk the third goal in a second, but I actually thought that Ramsdale won them those points, because I don't know what minute it was. Was it 85, 86 minutes? Obviously, Leon Bailey is had a poor bit of play, and then this sums up Bailey like within within a space of 10 seconds, because a ball is played over by Kamara, I think it is.
Going out,
He's right on the touchline. It's going out, and he controls it beautifully in his path, and then he's running right at the defender, turns the defender inside out. Beautiful strike with his right foot, and somehow Ramsdale gets a fingertip onto an under the side of the bar, and that for me was the points. That was the points, and that's what you pay your goalkeeper for.
Yeah, and also Duran probably could have played Bailey in if he didn't release the pass a bit earlier.
Yeah,
or lofted the pass, he would have been in. Obviously, when Duran made his break, and Duran never really looked like scoring, did he? On that, really. Yeah, I mean, it was a great save. It was a great save from Ramsdale, and give Bailey his credit there, because I think he was classic Bailey at the weekend. He was as frustrating with some of his touches and like holding on to the ball for too long, and from he was actually from creating that bit of play. He put a couple of good balls in, but. Yeah, look, if that had happened, it would have been unbelievable. 5 minutes to go, we're 3-2 up. And it always felt like we had the opportunity to get a goal in this. You know, Duran did make a difference when he came on again.
He did.
You know, driving run. But if you're not using the ball, if you're not trying to progressively attack, then you're never going to score a goal. And if you're slowing it down from your goalkeeper, you're taking ages to get out. You're not being brave with possession. You're not really going to have a chance to score goals. The thing about time wasting is this. If you're 2-0 up and you've got the lion's share of possession, then fair enough. Like, you know, kill the game a bit with 5 minutes to go. We're trying to kill the game at 55 minutes, 60 minutes.
I know. But also, I think Adam said it's not clever. It's not clever to hold the ball like from your own goal kick, especially when you're going to play it short, because you're just letting them get more players in position to put pressure on you. How you waste time is by kicking the ball into the channels or booting the ball into row Z in their half. That's how you waste time. Because you interrupt their flow, or you give away silly little niggly little fouls, like you pass it around the team. You know, different player gets a yellow card each time and interrupts their flow.
But also, Matt, what kind of message does it send in any sport? What kind of message does it send? If I'm playing snooker against you and I just start playing safe with 15 frames to go, I'm not going for my shots. You're thinking, hang on a minute. You know, if you're in a boxing fight and I don't really try and hit you from round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, hang on a minute. What does it say to Arsenal? What does it say to Bournemouth or Forest or whoever else playing the league? If Villa and I are going to play it safe 2-1 up with 40, 45 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, I think it's absolutely crazy that we're doing that. And all we're doing is we're saying, come on then, see how good you are. They're top of the league. They've got over 50 points halfway through the season. They got Odegaard, they got Martinez, they got Saka. I thought Jorginho was very good, by the way, at the weekend. I thought he was
just controls the game.
Yeah,
we never cope well with those type of midfielders, like whether it be a big player like a Rodri who controls the tempo, or a smaller player like a Jorginho who controls the tempo. We never really do that well against those type of players. Like if it's an all-action midfield, then we can go toe-to-toe with them. But I always find when they've got either big physicality or a player that he just controls the tempo, I just don't feel like we do very well, because I feel like we don't quite know what to do with them. Do we go man-to-man with them, or do we let them and then try and shut the passes off? I just don't know whether we do well with it.
We're not quite good enough yet, are we? Like our shit-house midfielder, Dendonker's not quite good enough. He's not quite...
He's running back. He runs backwards, mate.
So he's not as good as, you know, as some of the ones he's up against. And then look, I thought Kamara and Louise were decent again. I think they're a decent combo.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're just, like you say, they're just going to get pulled apart a little bit, especially, you know, and it's no fault of their own. Like, you know, you got McGinn who's all over, and then you've got Coutinho and Buendia who are there to get on the ball and do stuff. They're not going to be as effective, although they did work hard. They're just not going to be as effective in combating the midfield. So yeah, it's understandable. I'm going to have to read some comments out. I really am, because there's so many coming in. I'm going to try and go up from the bottom, the most recent. So some of our players don't seem to have the drive Unai wants. Must be frustrating coming from a smaller, more successful team that's worth probably less than half. Definitely a mentality thing. And we'll get into that soon. What the hell were they thinking? From Rich, he's getting quite angry. Martinez doesn't have any love for the club at the minute. Look at his body language, completely different to everyone else on the pitch. Adam's agreeing with us because we don't have anyone that can control the tempo. T1 says, I think we did well in the first half, especially with our second goal. Definitely did. That's Penno's agreeing with you. It says bang on. Rich said it's ridiculous. Gerard and Bailey should have passed to each other. One of those two chances, definitely. Duncan agrees with us. Could have won it if, to be fair, if Bailey had that shot gone in. It was a great save. Trying to time waste when you've got 40 minutes to play is insanity. Bailey needs to warm the bench a little now and be an impact sub. Start Duran. Molly Boy thinks it was a lucky touch by Bailey. Rachel says, I think an element of control is needed for us to go at full tilt on those scenarios, as if it does become frenetic, it's very difficult to keep composure. Yeah, I do think though sometimes in that chaos, I think we can sometimes come good. We need a Jedinak in there, someone who looks like he's gonna kill you in the tackle. We definitely need some presence in there, definitely. Emerys will sort the squad in the summer.
Yeah, I agree.
This game showed why we need Doozy. Den Donker is not an attacking midfielder. Poor sub from Emery gets criticised for no reason. It's not his fault. Yeah, I do agree to that to an extent. Emi Martinez thinks he's bigger than the club. From Matty Dyens, here he is. Sal. We need a big, nasty midfielder sat next to Coutinho. Once again, what did Buendia do except pointless running about? Thoughts on Buendia in that game? Yeah, I mean, he did a nice dummy for Coutinho, but I think he echoes what we've said many a time. He's there to score goals and create goals, and he's not really doing either at the moment. So
no, he's not. He's not. Again, he did well, didn't he, in a 4-2 home defeat against Leicester? Why?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
But
it's not like we paid 38-40 million for him, and like I understand that he runs about. I understand that he wears his heart on his sleeve, but I'd sooner he did a little bit less of that and scored more goals.
Yeah, I don't know if he's physically good enough for the Premier League. I still worry about his physical presence because he's really small, isn't he? He's really small. And to be fair, like whenever he's played with Coutinho, or even when one of them has played or the other, they've been a bit inconsistent. I thought Phil was pretty good actually for like when he played. I think I saw some stats about his tackles more than anyone else in the game, which is not a part of the game you associate him with. Obviously, he got his goal. Wasn't on the ball as much as I would have liked, but I thought he was good. He was good, obviously, in his cameo against Man City. And we know there's a player there, but I don't know if they're both of those two are consistent enough and both play at the same time. I mean, you see the point earlier on someone made about Bailey should have played in Duran and vice versa. But we've got aspirations for the top 10 of the Premier League. And for the last, 25 minutes of that game, we've got a 19-year-old Colombian who's played 50 minutes in total in the Premier League in his life. And then a wildly inconsistent winger. And there are two attacking options. So you are going to get bad decision making and probably not that much confidence.
Well, yeah, you're either, and if you brought Traore on, you'd get the same. You're either going to win the game or they're going to trap it and they're going to try and control it and it goes out for a goal kick. So
you would. I have no doubt in my mind that in the summer, no doubt at all that he will bring in players that will, whether it's Guendouzi, whether it's a Jonathan David, he'll bring in players that will make a difference to that. Pau Torres. I think there will be changes. There will be massive changes. I wouldn't even be surprised. Mings has got a new contract, and I think he's going to be. He's still our best defender, but I wouldn't be surprised he brought another centre back in, and all of a sudden Mings is on his new contract, warming the bench. If Carlos is fit, I wouldn't be surprised at all. No. I don't think anyone's safe. Maybe Kamara, and not even Watkins. I think safe. I don't think any of them are safe. Martinez. Listen, it's easy to forget, isn't it? You can like him one week, and I've said on here, I love how he's got a bit more gamesmanship in his game, and when it works brilliantly. But I think the point earlier on from Matthew earlier is bang on. I do think he thinks he's a bit big time now. I mean, all Villa fans were proud of him when he won the World Cup, but even some of his gestures in the World Cup were making me cringe a little bit. Like, why are you doing that kind of rude gesture in front of the royalty of obviously, the Qatari royalty, whatever it was? It's just you just don't need to do that. And I like that he's a bit of a character, and I like he's got a bit about him. But I do think at the moment, like he's I don't know, is he being a bit?
A little bit frustrated. It's a little bit frustrating, and it's a bit. Even if we'd have won, I do feel like Emery would have been annoyed, and I do think the Villa fans would have been like, "Come on, it's getting a bit over the top now, mate."
Yeah. And can I just say as well, like I think Emery's been getting some grief for his comments. I'm actually glad he made the comments because I honestly think he's in a situation where he's working towards an exit. And look, is it good to defend your players no matter what? Yeah. but I think he wanted to make the point that like maybe you need to get back in your box a little bit, and I think sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes it's a tactical situation to call someone out publicly. It shouldn't happen a lot, and I think it's the classic, praising public, criticizing private. But every now and then, you've seen his frustrations come out a few times now. Stevenage, a few other games. It's absolute. Look, you can look at the point. You're going to lose 3-2 anyway, so why not try and at least get an equaliser? But as he made it,
I absolutely agree with calling players out. They're big boys. They know what they're. I don't care that he does that. I honestly, I really don't care because Martinez was poor. Right, as Mike said, his distribution was distribution was shocking.
Get that point up there, mate. The amount of times in the game today,
kicking it straight out of play,
4 or 5 times in a row. And you know what, as well, why that's happening? Because you're holding on to it for too long. So you're cutting down the opportunities you've got to play it out quickly. So then you've got someone makes a little bit of run, and you've now got to ping a 45-yard ball diagonally over someone's head. You've got a small margin for error there. And this is, I've said this point a few times in the past. Like, I would honestly take today, whether it's 50, 60, 70, 80 million, I think you get that. I think you should be aiming for 100 million. He might win the best goal in the world award. You should be getting a significant amount of money, and then I think we could replace him at an absolute fraction of the cost with a goalkeeper that I think Emery would prefer, that could play system better with the ball at the feet, more confident, better distribution, a bit less of a I am basically Elvis kind of character. Maybe someone that's a bit more of a team player, someone that doesn't want to be the star of the show. And it's, it's a rarity for a goalkeeper, isn't it, to be like the biggest player in the team? It really is. Even some of the world's best goalies.
Like Barthez, wasn't it? Schmeichel.
Yeah, but even
very, very, very rare. Yeah.
Neuer isn't like that. Kepa Arrizabalaga, when his top goal in the world, wasn't like that. I mean, a little bit in the Carabao Cup final, but you get my point. De Gea's not like that. Oblak, from what I've seen, is not like that. All these amazing goalies. Donnarumma doesn't seem like he's like that, as in like wants to be the Ronaldo of the team, the Messi of the team. Even Messi's not like that. Sometimes a bit of humility is needed. And
quick question. So Michael said, I love Martinez, but does he fit the system? And then to go with that, if we were to say yes or no, but we think he might leave, Molly Boy said, who's the keeper you would replace him with?
So I don't think he fits the system from what I've seen how Emery wants to play. I don't think his distribution is anywhere near good enough. I'd replace him with, if I could choose, I really like Melly at Leeds.
No, I'm not a fan of him. I agree with Duncan here. I'd have Raya from Brentford, and I don't think he signed a new contract.
Well, Raya would be great as well, but I think Melly is great.
Distribution-wise, I don't know if I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think if you get 40, 50, 60 million for Martinez, you get a good keeper for 20, 25 million, and then you've got more money to invest in other areas. Talking of Martinez, obviously, the other big controversial moment of the game was the third goal. And to be honest, from where I was, I couldn't see anything other than it hit the bar and went in. But obviously, it turns out it was a Martinez own goal, came off his head as he's looking for where the ball's gone. And then, as this image shows us, we have a situation where 2 Arsenal players are standing in an offside position. And Keith Hackett, various other referees have confirmed that they believe that he was blocking the goalkeeper's line of sight. And yet again, it doesn't get referred to VAR. So what's the point in it?
Let's just call this what it is, right? This is an absolutely shocking decision. It's a disgraceful decision. It's clearly offside for 2 players that are offside. And we've got a video assistant referee system, which should be checking things like this. Now you give it, this whole like top 6 bias, blah, blah, blah. I still don't really think there's ever a situation when they sit in that VAR room and go, oh, lads, where are they in the league? Oh, they're 4th. Okay, we'll give this one. But it does feel like that because probably people feel like they have less opportunities against these bigger teams. Therefore, it means a bit more. Probably that's kind of my theory on that. But how is that not offside when they're both interfering with the sight of the goalie? And the comments that Dermot Gallagher made earlier, I think it was earlier today, saying like basically it's kind of like the referee's call, is absolutely ridiculous. What, it's just an opinion now, is it? There's no laws anymore. So it's handball, but you can decide whether he meant it or not. Or it was a 2-footed tackle, but you can decide whether it was it really a foul or not? Like it's clearly due to the laws of the game with VAR, it's offside twice offside. And that's their third goal. And you get a combination of craziness. It hits the bar. It goes in, of course, off Martinez's head. So it makes him look like a bit of an idiot. But it should have been disallowed.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like seeing it like that. I agree.
And 2 years ago, mate, remember that? I remember that unbelievable strike from John McGinn. I think it was the game we ended up winning 3-0 away.
Peno's just said there.
Yeah, absolutely bang on. Yeah. We won 3-0. We were amazing that day. We talked about it in the other pod, that away victory at the Emerys. But that was a fantastic strike from McGinn, and it was disallowed from. It was nowhere near as bad. I think it was Barkley blocking the keeper, but not. I was a bit like, is he really blocking the keeper? There's two situations here where they were blocking the keeper. Terrible.
Yeah, and I just think whether it's the moment of the, like, there's no justification for it, but whether it's the moment they don't want to go back, last minute, all that sort of rubbish. But then, like you say, today to kind of get referees union or like conversion in on each other saying, oh well, it's one of them that it could have gone either way, and it's like, well, that's the whole point of VAR. Is to make those decisions. That I get it when there's like they've got the grey area in a penalty decision where is it a clear and obvious error, but offside is offside. Like that's the point.
How can that be seen as being 6 of one, half a dozen the other, like decision wise? That's just clear as day. It just is. You remember that? Was it the Rodri handball against Everton for Man City? Remember that one they didn't give?
Yeah.
It's just black and white, isn't it? It's black and white. It's handball. We know it's handball. It's not a decision. Like look at Nick Pope getting sent off the other day. It's just clear. He's handballed it outside the box. Sorry you're upset. We'd like him to be in the final. He's been a great keeper this season. But it's black and white. If you've got rules that are now going to be subjective, what is it okay to sometimes murder someone? Is it okay to sometimes nick stuff from someone's house? Is it okay to sometimes kick someone in the head on a football pitch because it doesn't really matter? Of course it bloody matters. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we can talk about all day long our shocking control of the game and our bad decision-making from both the corner, bad defending, and Mings' header, and great save from Ramsdale, and it is fine margins, but that goal should have gone in. And if that goal doesn't go in, we go into the 94th, 5th minute, and we're 2-2, and we've got a good result, a plucky draw against Arsenal at the top of the league.
Exactly. And then we go up for the corner. We've talked about that, Emery not happy with Martinez. And then they go on and win 4-2, and it looks a lot worse than it is. Let's just have a quick tail of the tape. Let's just go through the stats quickly, and then we'll talk other things. But please, guys, while you're watching, please do leave a like on the video. We've got really good numbers watching, so please do make sure you leave a like. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the channel. We are just over 1,000, but want to keep growing. So yeah, we did lose a couple of subscribers, weirdly. But yeah, if you can, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Help us really grow. Probably, and help us push on. But stat-wise, obviously no surprise. Arsenal dominated possession, 2/3 possession to Arsenal, 1/3 to Villa. 5 shots on target each team. We got 5 shots on target from 7. They had 20 shots in total on 5 on target. Many more touches of the ball, many more passes, nearly double the amount of passes. We made more tackles than them. And many more clearances, which was obvious. 9 corners to Arsenal, 2 to Villa. And yeah, LA yellow cards was the same. We obviously made more fouls that they made 4. So, like you said, Kev, wasn't too many chances from us, but the finishing was good. And I think Gareth talked about this. Like our XG isn't great in terms of like chances created, but we are scoring from scoring our goals from less chances. But I think that's going to bite us in the backside every now and again, really, because you've got to, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your defence, and especially when we're conceding so many goals we are at the moment.
And we do need better quality players. We do. We need a more consistent number 10. We just do. We need more consistent wingers. We need alternative options for strikers with a bit of experience. We just do. We need a proper shit house midfielder, don't we? There's everything we need. We need more consistent fullbacks. Because even Moreno's had his moments, I think he's been better than Digne. Digne is still should be at peak age for a defender, but Cash has been wildly inconsistent this season, and Young's pushing 40. Our centre halves, our goalie, like everywhere.
Everyone's got inconsistency. Yeah, is there a case of lack of fitness Because to me, right, conceding goals in the last minute and giving the ball away in areas of the pitch where we shouldn't be towards the end of the game indicates to me, because what happens with a lack of fitness is you start losing concentration and your mind starts to go. And obviously we're talking like top level here, so we're talking split seconds. So is it a case of a slight lack of fitness that we've got at the moment? Because Moreno was struggling. Obviously, I can understand that. Coutinho came off for 62 minutes. He started to blow. Duran was blowing after like 15 minutes. He'd done a lot of work, but there's maybe like McGinn looks fit, Watkins looks fit, but is there a case of like that little bit of a lack of fitness that is causing us to concede these goals like late on, and so many of them down to lack of concentration?
I think there's definitely a lack of concentration, 100%. You can only look at that from the corner that knocked us out of our easiest FA Cup draw in about 10 years, against League Two opposition. And then we would have had Stoke in the next round afterwards, so you've almost got an absolute, you should really, a Premier League team, have a gimme there into fifth round of FA Cup. Once you get to the fifth round, it's anyone's. Really, it is for a top 10 aspiration Premier League team. You've plenty of teams that have won that over the years, so we absolutely cocked up there. To do it again in a game like this, that's concentration. Fitness, I don't know. There's a video going around, and I'm probably calling him out a bit harshly here, of Bailey absolutely trotting, like not even busting a gut.
Yeah.
On the fourth goal, the player just runs past him, and he's just jogging. And whether that was a sense of him thinking, "I'll sod it, it's over," but I don't know. I mean, it maybe is a bit of fitness. And are they expending that much energy early doors? The amount of time wasting going on, you think they'd have loads of
Yeah, they have loads of time to rest. Yeah. It's just an interesting one, because I remember like when I was coaching, managing obviously semi-pro teams and stuff. But it's the same principle. Like, if you weren't physically fit, the mental fitness goes, and you start to make mistakes. And yeah, it's obviously then, if you're constantly giving the ball away, you're then having to chase that ball again and again and again, which means then you're expending more energy, which is a bit of a vicious cycle. So comments coming in on that. Adam says, with the fitness, it doesn't help. We can't just have a spell where we keep the ball, we give it away, and we keep having to chase people around. Exactly what I just said there. Marcus said we have a mentality problem. Richard's agreeing. David said we drop so deep and then have to work so hard because we end up like headless chickens. Yep. Trev says definitely an element of not wanting to work on and stay in possession late in games. Alfie's Reef says same old story. We don't know, but there will be players that we know are going. Yeah. Belgian says fitness may be low because Emery's pushing them too hard on the training ground. Well, he's had 5 or 6 weeks in that winter break as well. Molly Boy said, if I'm honest, I said since the end of last season, Villa are one half team. Since Gerard came in, it's carried on under Unai. Second performance was like men versus boys.
Yeah, do you know what? That second half performance, they wanted it so much.
Yeah, more. They just thought, F it. We've got to win. We've got to win.
They were at it. They were winning the midfield battle. They were chasing things down in attack. They were just at it. And the other thing I think about us in terms of controlling games, if you don't hold onto it at the top of the pitch.
Yeah. Well, that's another part of it, isn't it? Yeah, you're gonna drop deeper and deeper because you're not holding it up top, and that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think we've done the game, so we've got to talk about the tweet.
Let's do it.
So it's now at 67, nearly 64,000 views. So now I don't need to explain myself of what I've done. I just tweeted some facts, but I will explain it. So I'll put Gerard first 10 league games, 5 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats, 17 points. Unai Emery first 10 league games, 5 wins, 1 draw, 4 defeats, 16 points. Now, everyone jumped on it, right? Loads of people jumping on it saying, I'm saying that Gerard's a better manager than Unai Emery. I'm clearly not saying that. Right? Unai Emery has the pedigree. Unai Emery is a better manager. There's 2 things that I'm saying about this, right? The first one is that regardless of the manager, right, we have produced the same results and the same type of form with a world-class manager and an average manager. Right now, people were saying, "Oh yeah, but Emery's start Emery's start is way more difficult." Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I could probably point to the Tottenham away result as a standout result, But let's not forget, Gerard came back from, we were 2-0 down against Man United at home. We got a 2-2 draw. Yeah. He came in when we were literally on our knees and beat Brighton. We went to Palace, who hardly ever beat at Selhurst Park, beat them 2-1. Leicester were way better this last season than they were this season. We beat them 2-1. Okay. We gave Man City a real game, lost 2-1. We lost 1-0 to a miles better Liverpool side. We lost 3-1 to them this season. We drew against Wolves, who were bottom of the league, 1-1. So we can talk like comparisons about where teams were and all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, it's the same. It's the same players, and these players will continue to give you the same results regardless of the manager. The point is we have to back Emery. He has to be given back in. Now, the second point that leads me on is that we can see the trends, because what were we saying under Gerard at this point last season after 17 points from 10 games, 1.7 points per game? What were we all saying? Give him pre-season. Yeah. We were saying,
yeah.
We were saying give him pre-season.
What was he saying?
Well, no, forget that. Forget that. As a supporter base, what were Villa fans saying after Gerard's start, after 10 games, 1.7 points per game? What were we saying?
Well, let's get to the summer. Let's kick on. Let's push on. Let's get to the next season. We've clearly got good positive signs here. He can add the players that he wants. He thinks he can fit to his system, and we can really have a go for it next season and break the top 10 of the Premier League.
Exactly. What are we saying under Unai Emery?
Exactly the same thing.
So my worry is that we don't back him. He gets one or two players in early on in the preseason that he likes, that he wanted, and we go round and round again, and we're all happy in preseason because we get Nico Williams in, or we get someone else in who we've really wanted, and then we're sitting there, we're waiting, right, we're going to get more players, then we go on a preseason tour, and we must be getting some players for this preseason tour, and then we don't get any players in, and it's like, oh, well, we've got a month till the transfer window closes, we must be getting some players in, we don't get any players in, and then it goes again, and then all it takes is 4 or 5 defeats in the first 7 or 8 or 9 games, and all of a sudden it's Unai Emery's not a good manager. Unai Emery hasn't done this. Unai Emery hasn't done that. And we're in the same position again. So that's basically what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's not a better manager than Gerard. What I'm saying is that the trends and the players are the same, and they will give you the same results until we get better, until we give them time and patience and backing.
I think you make some good points, mate. And I think there's a point you made for me is that, and I still look back on this now. You know, you mentioned that whole like, God, how many times did I call out Gerard for saying, "Hey, just give me the summer, watch what happens next season," and you get to the summer.
But a manager is always going to say that. You can't blame the manager for saying that.
But this is the thing.
Emery's going to say that.
Yeah, was it the board? When we started off that summer, we're signing Phil on a perm deal, getting Diego Carlos in, and getting the highly rated Boubacar Kamara, and who's obviously been great for us generally. We thought, hang on a minute, we have completed this game, and we're clearly going to add to that now a striker, a winger, a number 10, maybe number 8, whatever it's going to be. We're going to add to this team, and we didn't. On the last day, we got a Dendoncker and a Bednarek. That was it. And we're all a bit like, and was that because the board were thinking he's had an absolutely shocking start to the season? We don't want to back him with even more money. We backed him with a Dean who's not playing well. Coutinho's done nothing now since in the first few games of the season. I don't know whether there was a sense of them thinking,
or was it he wanted certain players and they and whoever, what's his name, Langer didn't do his job and didn't get him.
Well, maybe that was that. And Stevie, if you are watching, you want to come on the podcast and tell us your side of the story, give us a shout. But yeah, so
it's usually somewhere in between, isn't it?
It probably is. So I want to feel and think that Emery would not have taken the job with his pedigree to come back to the Premier League after what happened at Arsenal if he didn't get given cast iron guarantees that we were going to really, really kick on. I just don't believe he would do it. But you are right. I mean, you can always start thinking the worst, that we're going to get to the summer and buy a couple of players and then have a bad start and then it's all gone tits up again. But I do think that he is a class above. There's been things we've done in the games under Emery I just didn't see in a Gerard, and that may be recency bias.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. But
And
I just know we were saying the same thing last week. We were saying, oh, there's things under Gerard that we've not seen against Smith. He's got us more organised. He's doing this. He's doing that. And it didn't materialise.
Yeah, well, it turned out with him that he was tactically inept, wasn't it, towards the end, and for quite a bit of time. Whereas I think with Emery, you can clearly see he's got tactics. I think he's in that kind of honeymoon phase still, where we're giving him the credit because he's getting frustrated about the players not doing what he's asking them to do. Now, if he's given the chance, let's not forget as well, Gerard, he did make signings. He did sign Digne, he did sign Chambers, he did sign Coutinho.
He didn't spend a lot of money though. I'll give him that. Really. He didn't spend a lot of money. He signed three players for reasonably big money.
Diego Carlos,
Digne, and Carlos.
You can't legislate for Carlos being injured in his second game. You can't.
Kamara was out. Kamara, who's brilliant.
He was injured for quite a bit though, wasn't he? So maybe Gerard but
look, Gerard's gone, right. Gerard wasn't a good manager, but I do, like I say, it's the players that get you the sack. Players get you the sack. That's how it works as a manager. When you win, it's the players have done brilliant. When you lose, it's your fault. That's the whole point of being a manager, right?
Mate, you'd like to think that Emerys, he does a lot of analysis. He's watched probably every Villa game since 1874, isn't he? Apparently so. Video, Peter Max, or what was that old film called that he said back in the day?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
I wasn't a dig at your age, by the way. I know you're slightly older.
Yeah.
But the point is this, right? He's a meticulous manager. You would think he would have made his decision meticulously to take this job, and you would have thought he would have said, "Hang on a minute." You've gone from this young profile of a player, you've now started signing this old profile of a player. This is what I'm going to want to do to take this project on. The owners are clearly still in. They've just bought, obviously, a club in Portugal. So they're trying to build that global profile of these sports. The ladies' team's doing really well. The youth teams are doing well again. They've got big plans for the stadium. I do think they mean business, and I don't know. This conversation would be a lot easier if we knew that they basically decided to sort of slow it down with Gerard because they weren't convincing him as a manager. If we knew that, then I think it would make a bit of a difference in terms of what we think about the whole situation. But I don't think we know that.
Yeah, well, I've like I say, I don't feel like I needed to explain the tweet. I think the facts spoke for themselves, but like I say, people, as Penno says, got rattled. But that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that. People have to see the facts when they come out. Michael says we still have the same players. Sorry, go on, mate.
The tweet as well, it was sort of the response to it. I thought it was a bit ridiculous. You're just stating facts. Sometimes stating facts gives people the whole point of stating facts give people the opportunity to form their own decisions on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The point people made was it was almost that under sort of subliminal message that Gerard is basically as good as Emery. But as I put a tweet out about it, it's not what we're saying at all. We're calling out the inconsistency of the players. Time will tell whether some of these inconsistent players will be part of it or not.
Exactly. Adam's saying it's still the same players either way, good or bad manager. Belgian Villain says the players are let down merchants. Penno says Groundhog Day. Ian says bad habits are part of the problem. An example of this is Luis always looking to pass to Coutinho, even though other players are in better positions. He was better at the start and now he is slipping. Well, this is what we said all the time, and this is what I think annoyed Emery, is that the players are he said it after initially coming in, they were all doing what he's saying, and now they're going back to type. They're reverting to type. So it's got to be the players. Richard, the system of formation better. We have the same players as Gerard had. Can't really judge him from Gerard buys. He'll get his choice in the summer. Now I agree with that, but my other point is I look through the team and I've thought about this a lot. Right, Martinez, Smith signing, Cash, Smith signing, Konsa, Smith signing, Mings, Smith signing. Left back Moreno, Unai signing, Kamara, Gerard signing, McGinn, Bruce signing, Louise, Smith signing, Watkins, Smith signing, Buendia, Smith signing, and who else was in there? Coutinho, Gerard signing. Okay, so we said that they're Gerard's players, but I've just named that team, and 2 of them are Gerard signings.
Yeah,
it's a Dean Smith team.
Yeah.
Now that might be because Gerard was only there for a year, but it's
Well,
still a Dean Smith team, and it's still predominantly a team. It's still predominantly a team that finished 17th in the Premier League.
Well, mate, let me just add to that point though. One thing I think you're forgetting is there were signings that were made by Gerard that were just they've not been good enough.
Oh yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. What I'm saying is that team is a Dean Smith team.
It is because Digne was paid for a lot of money and hasn't been good enough to keep that left back spot now.
Yeah.
You've got a Chambers potentially that's not been good enough. Coutinho's not really been a starter. His first goal contribution of any kind this season is in.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm not defending Gerard. What I'm saying is that it's a Dean Smith team.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And there needs to be fundamental, substantial changes.
Exactly, because you're going to get the same. The best that Dean Smith team did was finish 11th in the Premier League with one of the best players in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Right. We keep talking about him. We can't help with a podcast but not talk about him. And every time he didn't play, we got beat generally.
Yeah.
So Molly Boy says let him get his players in and push on. No, Gerard asked for a pre-season. We were a lot worse with Gerard, but I understand what you're saying. But as you said, just as we need to back the manager and look like we have a clear plan, absolutely, we agreed. Yeah. Alfie's Reef says Unai is likely to bail, though, if he doesn't get the support to build the team. I think he's still living at the hotel. Well, we know he is. I do feel that again. Like I don't know. There's something about that I feel a little bit like awkward about that he's living out of a hotel still and the manager of our team. Like I know he's probably looking for a place and all that sort of stuff, but I just think of him like he gets beat and then he's having to go back to that. And as nice a hotel it is, but he's having to go back there. He's not got his family with him and all that, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah.
What if we're like this next season is the worry. Well, if we can't succeed under Emery, I'll support a team here in Jamaica. We'll all go with you, Tiwan. We definitely will. I'm calling it now. Villa are going to fall apart in the next year. Please not. Can you ask one of them to buy Bailey? I must say, Emery has the potential to be our best manager ever, and are going back from watching Villa in the mid-70s. We hope so. We can only judge it until it happens. Yes, we have read this script before, but at that point, the expectation of the club would have to change. Yeah, I agree, Rachel. We do. We can only go with what we know. But I just think what was also eye-opening about that tweet was the kind of almost not it was like the denial of the start that we had under Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
It was like oh yeah, Gerrard was rubbish. Did you not see him at the end? It's like that again. That's not the point. The point is from 10 games there and 10 games there. That's the point. And where did it go with the same players? That's what Anyway, if we want Europe, more than half the starting 11 needs to change. That's my opinion. I agree. And so does Rich. Emery will definitely get backed. He wouldn't have come here, as you said, Kevin. Michael says, yes, as in January, Marina was the only player that Emery signed. Duran was a club signing. David said, the process is a new experiment. How often does an elite manager go to a bottom half of the table team? We need to accept this may or may not work out. Absolutely. Look what happened with Everton and Carlo Ancelotti. Langer is letting us down big time. Are we just a cursed club because whatever we do, it's like deja vu? Will there be money as we want there to be spent? Seems like only the fans are saying we've got the money to spend big. Do you think we've got money, Kev?
Yeah, I'm confident in that. I'm confident. I already am.
Yes, Rich said the owners picked Emery themselves, so he would need the money to get the players in. Beale leaving to me was a slap in the face to the owners, as both he and Gerard came as a package. Yeah, I'd agree with that. If we don't keep Emery, it would be the worst thing in 20 years for us. Belgian Villa said, does Emery's poor English, so to speak, a problem with the players?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't seem to be like his ideas get through. I mean, and I think as much as he's got,
I think it's improved, and yeah, Alfie's Reef says the same. Yeah,
I think it's okay.
Michael said Pathé News. That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mate,
I've had a check, by the way. Mount Pleasant FA, top of the Jamaican league.
Oh wow, excellent.
So Arnott Gardens are hot on the towels at second spot. So they've got a better recent record of the last 5 games. So keep an eye out for those, Tiwan. Let us know which one you fancy supporting, and we'll come over for a game. I wouldn't mind. Go back to Jamaica. We had a great time last time. Done River Falls and doing all that. So yeah, I'm all over it. Let's do it.
Very nice.
Listen, the other thing I wanted to just say on all this is this. It has dropped off a little bit, right? But go back 3 games, we were very, very positive under Unai Emery.
I agree.
We beat Tottenham away, we beat Brighton away, we beat Man United at home that we never do. We won in our 3rd kit, which we never do. All those different things. We beat Leeds. We had a draw against the Wolves team. I think are really not showing how good they actually are, as much as they can't score. They've not had a striker scored 30-odd games. Ardent Gardens, let's go, Tio, and let's go. Chasing them down, Mount Pleasant down. Yeah, chasing them down. So you play Leicester. Look, we were, that was a crazy day of all the mistakes happened. And then you got Man City and Arsenal. Then as much as I was really gung-ho about the Man City game and because of all their financial stuff in the news, and Arsenal have got 1 point in 9. They're the top 2 in the league. I don't care who you are. You could be Chelsea, Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United. You could lose to those 2. I'm really, really more confident maybe I should be about Everton away. Me and you were going. Let's do it. Palace, West Ham away.
Well, yeah. Well, the next 5. Let's do it. Let's go.
You're including Chelsea now, aren't you? As well, which should be easy.
Be easy, mate. Yeah. They'll probably have a new manager. By then, though. So we've got Everton away, Palace at home, West Ham away, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea away, and then Forest at home. That's the next 6. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, like you say, that could, by all accounts, if we played as we played against Arsenal, because Everton aren't as obviously as potent an attack, you've got to be thinking going into that game, some of the movement, some of the passing, Watkins in form, we've got to be going into that with a lot of confidence. Then that totally changes the complexion of the season again. And then you're going to Palace at home and all that sort of stuff. So, Ian's very confident. He's saying 5 wins and a draw, which would be phenomenal. So, but equally, we've been in these crossroads before where Everton off the 2 wins out of 3, new manager. We don't do very well against Sean Dyche. So is that a thing? So it's tough.
It might be a thing, and this may be getting a bit ahead of yourself. I'm a bit ahead of myself. I predicted 13 points the other day. I honestly believe
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Everton. Yeah. I know they've had a bit of a reaction. They played a Leeds team that aren't in great form.
Exactly.
Right? They obviously got a good win. I think it was a combination of things. I think Arsenal were due a defeat out of nowhere, and Everton, new manager bounce, got it, and then they obviously lost. They didn't play great against Liverpool. But I mean, I look at the Everton team: Coleman, Sims, Davies, and Arna.
Yeah, we've got. They're not a potent attacking force. I mean, set pieces they're good. Set pieces is getting them good at, which we're not great at. But you've got to think in open play, we'll still be.
We should be better than them.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Should West Ham are there, absolutely there for the taking. I know it's not going to be easy going away. Bournemouth at home. I mean, if we're ever going to beat Bournemouth at home, that's got to be it.
Absolutely.
They've got some quality players and they could click. Then you got Forest, then you got a Newcastle side that are fading. Then you got Brentford, and you got Fulham. Right? I think you've got.
We've got some good games. Like you said, mate. I know perspective and stuff, and other, like I say, the tweet was aimed at the players, and I'm sure everyone knows that, and the inconsistency of the players, and giving Emery time and patience to get the players in that he needs. Because as we've just said, we pointed out the team is a Dean Smith team from two seasons ago, so it needs time. But yeah, the next few games, by all accounts, we should be comfortable. We should be winning. Obviously we're not going to win all of them, but we should be back to winning ways and be kind of looking up the table again, which would be great. So let's just get a bit of perspective, because like you said, you come up against Man City away and Arsenal at home. If we'd have got 1 point out of those 2 games, we'd have been happy. Obviously, the way that the games occurred, we were a little bit more disappointed with it, but we wouldn't have expected to get any points out of those 2 games.
Mate, I feel a bit of deja vu now because I remember making the point about this time last year that these players now, if they want to be here in this summer under this Gerard rebuild, in Stevie G we trust, they want to be here for this rebuild. They've got to show themselves now over these next few games, and I want to make the same point again because it's still as true as it was, even though it feels like I'm just kind of like regurgitating old points. But if you can't get at least 10 points out of West Ham away, at Bournemouth at home, out of Everton away, out of Palace at home, then and you've got aspirations to be, well, at least 8 points, at least 2 wins, 2 draws, you know, or if you lose 1 but you win 3, like 8 to 9, 10 points. If you're not getting that and kicking on, I still think that top 6, top 7, top 8 is maybe too far away, but got to consolidate in that top 10. Makes it easy to buy players in the summer. This is the time now. And actually, there's been some good stuff played in those games. Quite simply, if I was Emery, I'd be going in there on training Monday morning going, when you've got a corner against you, defend against the players that are around the box, tick, right? If your ball comes in the box, head it out, stop dicking around with it. Martinez, get rid of it early and stop messing around, time wasting. There's 3 quite simple things fixed already. Mm-hmm. I'd probably give John Duran a start, maybe, because I don't know if Buendia and Coutinho together is the right option for Everton away. Does he bring in a Dendonka, maybe someone like that? I don't know, but I think Duran against a Tarkovsky and a Cody could cause a few problems. So I'd probably go for that. I think he's shown enough now, and I don't think there's a game for Bailey at all. So that, you know, but I think we've got to be positive.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Our away form's been really good, and actually, we've won 3.5 away games under Emery. We didn't win the first half against Man City, but we won the second half. Didn't we? And we also beat Brighton, Spurs, and Southampton. So I think our away form's been really good. And Everton are going to have to try and think to themselves as well, we've got to beat Villa.
Well, they're going to want to come and they're going to come and try and frustrate us and try and nick a win. So that's what they need to do. But I think if we get off to a positive start, we'll do well against them. But look, we could do we'll do a match preview coming up. I think Belgian Villain was asking before. We'll probably do that on Thursday. So we'll do the match reaction Thursday. Myself and Kev are going to the game. So if anyone else is going, please grab us and say hello. We'll be in Liverpool from early doors. And we'll be doing a Talking Tactics show in the week, probably Wednesday, I think, with Gareth. So look out for that. And if there's any other Villa news, Kev will be back with a Bodymore bulletin. But guys, the viewing numbers have been amazing tonight. So thank you so much. Please do, as I say, we always say, leave a like on the video. If you are new to the channel or if you haven't yet done it, please hit that subscribe button to help us grow the channel. Kev, it's been a pleasure, mate. I feel much better. I've got it off my chest.
Absolutely, mate. Thanks, everyone.
We feel better, and we'll be back in the week, as I say, with a match preview and positive vibes with the Villa. So
keep the faith.
Always, keep the faith.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get there.